Let's jump into one of history's most incredible survival stories. But this isn't about some big battle or conquering new lands. Nope, this is about a pandemic, a devastating plague that brought an entire empire to its knees, and the unbelievable philosophical strength of the man at the center of it all, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. All right, let's get into it.
So, I want you to just picture this for a second. It's the 2nd century AD, and the Antonine Plague is just tearing through the Roman Empire. It's this relentless, terrifying wave of death. We're talking about a suffocating atmosphere of contagion, the smell of decay filling the streets of Rome. This was a total societal collapse. The world was gripped by fear, by grief, and just absolute unending chaos.
And yet, in the middle of all that panic and death, the emperor is writing this. His empire is literally crumbling from disease, and he's turning inward. Now, this wasn't him being in denial, not at all. This was a radical strategy for survival. His way of building a foundation when the very ground beneath his feet was falling away.
And that brings us to the big question here, really. How on earth could one man stay so unshakably calm when his entire world was falling to pieces? What was his secret to finding order in the middle of absolute chaos? This contrast right here really says it all. On one side, you have the world outside, unstoppable contagion, chaos, collapse, and just overwhelming grief. But then, on the other side, you have the world inside your mind. And for Marcus, this was it. This was the one and only space he could still control, a place to practice stillness, logic, and build up that endurance. You see, the most important battle wasn't being fought in the streets of Rome, it was being fought inside his own head.
So how did he do it? Well, the answer is in his philosophy. This is how he built what we now call an inner citadel. For Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism wasn't some stuffy academic theory you'd read about in a book. No, it was a practical, frontline toolkit for psychological survival.
You know, his method wasn't about pushing down his grief or fear, just the opposite. He would visualize it as something intangible, like smoke. He'd acknowledge it, really feel it, but then, through sheer conscious effort, he would transform it. He would shape that formless smoke into a solid shield of resilience. He was literally turning his own weakness into a weapon. And this whole process can really be broken down into 3 steps. Okay, so first, acknowledge. He didn't pretend the horror of the plague wasn't happening. He faced it head on. Second, and this is the absolute game changer, isolate. He drew a hard line between what he couldn't control, the disease itself, and the one thing he could, his own response to it. And third, act. He let his duty and his reason be his guides, not the panic that was swallowing his empire.
That's a fair question, right? I mean, it's one thing to sit in a quiet room and write in your journal, but how does this internal stillness actually help when you're supposed to be leading millions of terrified people through a catastrophe?
Well, this is where that philosophy showed up in his leadership. While pretty much everyone else who could was fleeing the city, he stayed in Rome, becoming this powerful symbol of stability. He organized supply chains, he dealt with burials, all with calm reason, not frantic desperation. Every single one of his decisions broadcasted his internal state, logic and duty over fear. He became a living, breathing example of philosophical endurance for his people.
So what it all boils down to is this idea of philosophical endurance. It's the ability to keep your inner calm, to think rationally, even when the world outside is pure chaos. And you get there by relentlessly focusing only on what you can actually control. Your own response, your own character, your own virtue. That's it.
Look, this isn't just some dusty old history lesson. The principles that Marcus Aurelius used to get through the Antonine Plague are like a bridge to our own time. They give us this powerful framework for facing the crises, big and small, that we all deal with in our own lives.
And this, right here, this is the timeless takeaway. Whether it's a global pandemic, a personal tragedy, or just chaos at work, we cannot control the storm outside. That's just a fundamental truth of life. But what Marcus Aurelius shows us, what he proved, is that we always have the power to build an unshakable fortress on the inside.
So that leaves us with one last question to think about. We all face our own plagues, right? Those huge external forces that feel like they're going to just consume us. So, looking at your own life, what is the plague of your time? And how are you going to start building your inner citadel?